Currently, China's next big move is most likely the annexation, aka reunification with Taiwan, because to be frank, it's literally right there.
But like, why? What is with like this still needed idea of countries and conquest? Like, the world's been discovered. Why not just try to make the current country better than try to acquire more land and space? But it's like, Taiwan's such a valuable country for tech. And CPU usage, which is like, semiconductors, like you need that. And so other countries wouldn't want, not even just the US, other countries wouldn't want China to have hold of that.
While we all know there's nothing we can do to improve our own lives and it's best left to whoever's in the White House, it's also the case that the people at the top of our institutional hierarchies have more than just the clamoring citizens to answer to, as they have real issues on the global stage they have to make worse. Meaning, in order to actually understand the larger scale objectives of a nation, we have to zoom out and view every country like we're playing Civilization. A good example of this is that in economics and politics, everyone says that America is the most powerful country in history, as they have the best technology and are the richest civilization of all time. Then immediately everyone in the comments,
but we're the richest civilization by GDP. We're not the richest civilization by individual. I feel like that's such a gross inaccuracy. People always go, the US is the richest country in the world. Yeah, but the majority of that wealth is held by the people that are at the top, right? The average income of somebody in the United States, we're not even like top 10.
And says, well, I'm American and I'm not rich. And I'm sure that's correct, but observe how zoomed out I am on the map. I can't see you at all, meaning you are a trifling statistic to me. Similarly, what's clear both in real life and in video games is that the most significant threat to your empire is other nations enacting military force toward you while you're just trying to get your supply chain together to make light bulbs. For this reason, I wanted to look at the most powerful nations on Earth in terms of military might, which means looking at all 7 nuclear powers in the world, starting with the weakest and moving up to the strongest.
Who's Winnie the Pooh? Oh, Xi Jinping.
To preface, I'm not going to be mentioning any countries in Africa or South America. This is because they don't have any nukes, meaning they don't matter or exist, so we can just delete those. This is how they do it in the Pentagon, by the way. First, we have our honorable mentions, which are countries that have no nuclear weapons but are still extremely formidable. Iran. Iran currently does not possess any nuclear weapons, but recently was enriching uranium to levels above 60% in a facility 90 meters.
How do we know if a country doesn't have nuclear weapons? Is that like, are we able to know that? Like, couldn't a country have nuclear weapons and hide it? Even if you are spying on these countries, I'm not saying Iran has nuclear weapons, but I'm saying like countries could just have nuclear weapons and just not say it. But I think it's better to say it because that's the idea of mutually assured destruction. Because then you ensure your nation's survival from imminent threat because you could just threaten nuclear war back at someone.
Which, let's be honest, if you thought America was ever defending itself from anything, the only—
Oh my God, and that jackass right now that's just fucking big. Dude, he's like a social media influencer. Who's the head of the Department of War right now? And he just posts on fucking Instagram Reels all the time. I'm like, dude, go do something. go fucking do something. Pete Hegseth. Go fucking do something, bro. He's an influencer. He posts more than I do.
Technology they would need is an Iron Dome that shoots down Boeing 767s. Saudi Arabia. Unrelated, Saudi Arabia also has no nuclear weapons, but is still top 10 globally in terms of defense spending, and is a fairly—
Defense spending, but I feel like Saudi Arabia is also just so, like, even if they're not the top in military power, they have just raw power from wealth. Like, the amount of money that the Saudi families have is more than like billionaires combined. Like the Saudi families are like so fucking rich.
They've recognized they can't just print money from selling oil forever, and their current grand strategy is to transition their economy from a gas station to the hub center connecting Africa to Eurasia and become the economic center of the Middle East. Plus, after hyping up their plans to build a 170-kilometer long city that is—
Yeah, didn't they just give that up? I feel like Saudi Arabia starts so many like trillion-dollar projects that they just fucking shit out for 6 months and then go, never mind. Like, they'll just do the work at 24/7 on it, and they go, never mind.
Taller than the Empire State Building, and was getting me excited for someone to actually do something cool but really stupid. They shockingly paused construction, and were then like, maybe we can turn it into an AI data center instead.
Oh, is that what they really did?
7 as the weakest nuclear superpower is Israel. This is because Israel has no nuclear weapons, as it has committed to keeping the Middle East denuclearized. But they have stated that while they have no nuclear weapons, if they were to come under a mortal threat, they would be forced to use them. Their current geopolitical objectives are to deal with international social outrage by using their enormous political and media influence to convince radicalized Americans that they don't have a...
You're going on the Nelk podcast. So, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, what is your favorite hamburger?
What's your go-to at McDonald's?
No, I'll tell you, Burger King. We did the double,
Whopper?
The double.
I haven't ripped Burger King in a long time.
Burger King kind of sucks.
Yeah.
No,
the,
you're wrong.
the BK Lounge can hit.
I disagree completely.
You like Burger King over McDonald's?
Absolutely.
Number 6, North Korea.
North Korea's the number 6 military superpower. I feel like that's just because they constantly threaten nuclear war. Like, there's no way North Korea is the 6th strongest nation militarily.
To have about 50 nuclear warheads, although they're far more powerful and effective than any other nation's nuclear warheads because Kim Jong-un personally guides each of their targets, always knows where they'll land, and never makes a strategic mistake. Their current geopolitical objective...
Yo, the shit that was really funny was when they launched that. You see when they launched that military boat and it sunk in front of Kim Jong-un? It's not funny because he probably killed people after that.
Objectives at home are to continue launching ballistic missile tests over South Korea in order to further refine their capacity for strategic inaccuracy. Meanwhile, abroad, the soldiers they sent to the Kursk region to help...
Oh, addicted to porn. Addicted to porn, dude. All the North Koreans they sent over to Russia and to fight in the Ukraine war. Oh my God. They got immediately addicted to entertainment and corn.
Russia wouldn't stop peacefully gooning to dancing girls after seeing the internet for the first time.
And TikTok.
And have been sent home, likely undermining North Korea's credibility from the inside out.
Oh, what? Because they don't have internet. Well, they have internet access, but we watched that one video where they actually had somebody with a North Korean phone. And, dude, it's like all monitored. It randomly takes pictures of your phone. You can't access the majority of things. You can't download VPNs. Only approved apps and things are even downloadable on your phone. You constantly have to get it refreshed. Like, if you're on Wi-Fi or a phone in North Korea, that shit's about as useful as like a Leapfrog tablet in 2010. So when they went over to Russia and they had basically unmonitored internet access, they shit their pants.
4. Pakistan and India. While even bigger in population than China with 1.45 billion people, India doesn't yet have anywhere near the wealth nor industry. Pakistan is much smaller in terms of population with about 250 million people, and even with half the GDP per capita at $1,500, it's still more than enough to secure strong borders around India, as both countries have about 200 nuclear weapons. Pakistan has significant trade and alignment with China, which allows China to strengthen their access through continental Asia and into the Middle East, whereas India is more aligned with the West, securing maritime trade and allowing them to bring you DoorDash anywhere in the world. Now we get to the top 3, which are considered the real major superpowers in the world and a major jump up in power level from everyone else. Russia. Russia is by far the weakest of...
It's going to be Russia, China, US. Russia's weak right now because they're going through all of their gold reserves. Isn't Russia just like burning cash fighting Ukraine right now? And like, what I think the person that runs the central bank in Russia went out again. The only woman or person in general that is able to speak out against Vladimir Putin is the leader of the central bank, because they have to be like outwardly honest about how their country's doing, at least to Putin. And she went out and was like, yeah, we're doing like really fucking bad. And then now she's not allowed to speak about it anymore.
Its greatest strength is its enormous abundance of natural resources and sheer landmass, meaning they have access to the Arctic Ocean, the Black Sea and the Mediterranean, and land trading routes to China, Europe hypothetically, and the Baltics. While obviously a shadow of the Soviet Union, a lot of analysts are downgrading Russia's superpower status even further, as their military capacities seem much weaker than previously thought, and Western sanctions mean they're extremely reliant and arguably at the mercy of China as a primary trade partner. While Russia isn't overwhelming in terms of strategic military power, they are...
Dude, take this with a grain of salt. I think China, in the way that they're going, is probably going to be making more money and more powerful than the US at some point. China prints money. They fucking sell everything to everyone, and it's like not even close. Like, they fucking purposefully, artificially devalue their own dollar, and then their government just has so much money to spend on anything.
Number 2, China. China's biggest strength is turning their country from what was a agrarian peasant society getting conquered by the Japanese into the largest industrial economy in the world, which is absolutely absurd. Nevertheless, what makes China frightening is that because of their export economy, They have a massive industrial capacity. Currently, China's next big move is most likely the annexation, aka reunification with Taiwan, because to be frank, it's literally right there.
But like, why? What is with like this still needed idea of countries and conquest? Like, the world's been discovered. Why not just try to make the current country better than try to acquire more land and space? Like when we're like, we need to acquire Greenland, that's making your life harder. I know China and Taiwan have had strains for years and it's a very long historical conflict. But I'm saying like with the US, we have so many problems. Why are we trying to get more problems? The US is also a war-based economy, so it's its own thing. You want Greenland for oil. You want money from that. You want to have more of a military holding there. And it's also like an ego thing of like, if we acquire Greenland, that would look great for Trump. I'm saying from the average person's perspective, like if you just threw a random guy in power, they'd do pretty bad. But I don't think they'd go, we need to start taking land. They'd go, why don't we solve part of the problems that we have here? Why don't we fix the problems that are going on here, right? Rather than acquire more of them.
So while I'm rooting for Taiwan, if you add on the fact that there are American military bases in Japan and South Korea, and they have access to bases in the Philippines, China's only way of securing clear access to the Pacific Ocean is Taiwan. Meaning it's not looking so great for the little guy right now.
Yeah, but Taiwan, I know it's not looking great and people say the rising tensions and shit, but doesn't Taiwan make like so much of like hardware for computing today, which doesn't seem like that big of a deal with war, but it's like Taiwan's such a valuable country for tech and CPU usage, which is like, yeah, semiconductors, like you need that. And so other countries wouldn't want, not even just the US, other countries wouldn't want China to have hold of that.
And partners. You already knew we were number one because I don't want to become the 51st state.
That's part of the fear, though, is that if our dollar crashes, like the world economy fucking plummets. Because everything's not, like we're not based on the gold standard anymore. We're just kind of artificially like believing this value of the dollar is the value that we say it is versus us actually having something tangible that it could be tied to.
Later, even today, 58% of all global reserves are in dollars, 50% of all trade is done in US dollars, and 90% of all foreign exchange is in dollars as well, which allows immense privilege in terms of global influence. You can sort of think of it like how the global language of business is English. Europeans speak to Europeans in English, except Italians. Educated Chinese students learn English, and if you want to have a successful international career, you essentially must learn English. That means for people born into it, you don't have to do any work, and you get all the rewards. If your hopes and dreams are to be successful in music, film, tech, finance, business, or professional political streaming, you have access to the largest markets right away. But for everyone else, the first thing they have to do is learn a completely different language to fluency, and then move to a different country. This is essentially the same privilege as the US dollar in that it has a global monopoly on banking and trade, meaning the currency that you create is the currency everyone uses. With that said, currently the geopolitical grand strategy of the West is in complete disarray, because prior to Trump 2.0, both the Democrat and Republican plan was essentially to maintain the pre-existing Western rules-based order. Even now, it's still not clear what the new hard-right grand vision is, or if there even is one. We have to stop languishing and twiddling our thumbs as China becomes a threat to our position as global superpower. We need domestic industrial capacity to come back because we have no way to build our critical industry technology in volume if they decouple their economy from us. America shouldn't use our resources to be the protectorate militarily of Europe. They have the resources now to do it themselves. And America will establish political security over Central America, locking down a soft border for the entire northern continent, while using bases on Greenland to secure the Arctic shipping lanes, which are now open nearly year-round since polar ice has retreated in the last 50 years.
Oh my God. Fuck this. So we're hard pivoting from the protection of NATO, and we're trying to get them to cut some part of their own GDP for their own spending in Europe. And a lot of countries within Europe want to do that themselves just so they don't have to be reliant on the US. So now we're trying to move that chokehold to South America. So then we have the same influence that we had 30 years ago on Europe, just in a different space.
There's anything that unusual about the plan. It just represents a particular form of extremely hawkish foreign policy. The problem really is the not on paper part, which is using forceful executive powers to manipulate your allies while demolishing any pre-existing trust and goodwill. then circumventing all democratic political channels to achieve it as fast as humanly possible, causing massive social upheaval in your own country and the world. And all of this is while defying the entire fundamental basis of the Western alliance in the first.
And like, when's it get better? But I'm like, what's the final plan? You know what I mean? Like, when people are seeing this, like, there's some people that don't have a problem with it, but I'm like, yo, what are we waiting for? Like, what are we waiting for? When's the great again happening? Everything's more expensive. Inflation's still higher. Job markets are still bad. The housing market's still expensive as fuck. Gold skyrocketed 300% because people are worried the economy's gonna fucking crash. We're in an AI bubble. ICE is just killing people. What are we fucking waiting for? When, like that, no, I literally ask myself that every day. I'm like, where's the goal? Shit getting bad before it gets better. There has to be things that are bad before you get to the long-term goal. But like, what's the goal? I feel like we're moving the goalpost all the time. Like, what are we talking about? Greenland now? We kidnapped the guy of Venezuela, or now we're controlling Venezuela for some time. I was just like, what's happening? Full-blown recession. The gold crash got bro. We have no nuclear weapons. We'll use it if we have to. What is gold at now? Oh my God. Wait, it's down 8% today. Holy shit.